All right, you've got to hear this story. It's about a piece of tech that basically exploded onto the scene and then, poof, vanished, all in about 72 hours. We're talking about a new AI phone that promised to literally change everything, sparked an absolute frenzy on the black market, and then got shut down by some of the biggest names in the game. This is the wild story of the Doubao AI phone.
So just imagine this for a second. You pick up your phone and you just say something like, hey, find me the cheapest pair of running shoes online, compare the prices on a few different apps, and then just buy them for me. And your phone just does it. No more endless tapping, no swiping, no jumping between 5 different apps. That was the dream being sold here, the idea of a true cyber butler.
And this was the device that was supposed to make it all happen. It's a team-up between ByteDance, the company behind TikTok, and the phone maker Nubia. And yeah, on the outside, it looks like a pretty standard phone, but it's what was running on the inside that was a total game changer.
So, what was it that made this AI so radically different? Why did it cause such an enormous stir? Well, the secret was a new kind of technology that acted less like a simple assistant and more like a digital copy of you. The secret sauce here is something called a GUI agent. Now, GUI just stands for Graphical User Interface, which is basically just everything you see and touch on your screen. The buttons, the text, all of it. This AI doesn't need any special backdoor access to your apps. It literally looks at your screen, just like you do, understands what it's seeing, and then mimics your finger taps and swipes to get stuff done.
And this is where you can really see the massive leap we're talking about. Your current assistant, like a Siri or a Google Assistant, is kind of stuck in its own little world. It's great for setting a timer or answering a trivia question, but it can't really leave its own ecosystem. The Doubao assistant, on the other hand, just smashes through those walls. It can seamlessly navigate totally different apps made by different companies, all to complete one single complex command.
So let's just walk through how that would actually work. You give it that one command for running shoes, the AI immediately opens up Taobao, which is a massive shopping app. Then it hops right over to a competitor, JD.com, to see if it can find a better price. It figures out the best deal, selects it, and takes you straight to the checkout page. All of that from just one sentence. Insane.
The president of Nubia, I think he put it perfectly. He said this wasn't just a phone, it was a digital doppelganger. The goal wasn't just to make a smarter phone, it was to create a digital twin that could take over all the boring, tedious parts of your digital life for you. That is a seriously ambitious vision.
And well, that ambitious vision absolutely caught fire. Almost instantly, this phone went from being a niche tech gadget to a full-blown internet sensation. The 72 hours that followed were, and I'm not exaggerating, completely wild. Just look at how fast this all happened. On day 1, the first batch of 30,000 phones, they sell out in a blink. By day 2, the hype is so out of control that scalpers are getting ridiculous prices for them. And then, by day 3, the whole dream just comes crashing down, as the internet's biggest players basically decide to ban the phone from their platforms. And if you want to know just how intense that hype was, check this out. The phone's retail price was around 3,500 yuan. On the resale market, people were paying nearly 13,000 yuan. That's more than 3 times the original price. It just shows you how desperate people were to get their hands on this thing. And the buzz was just everywhere. The main hashtag for the phone pulled in over 100 million views on social media in just those first 3 days. It was literally the only thing anyone in the tech world was talking about. And this is why it went so viral. The lucky few who actually got one of these phones started sharing these unbelievable stories. Like this user, who said the AI booked their entire trip, we're talking flight and hotel, in just 5 minutes. They said it saved them half a day of work. It was solving a real annoying problem that we all have. But then, right when the hype was hitting its absolute peak, the giants of the internet decided to push back. And they pushed back hard. This is where the story takes a really dramatic turn. The cyber butler was about to get fired by the very apps it was designed to help you with.
Almost overnight, it was like a coordinated takedown. China's most powerful super apps. We're talking WeChat, the communications and payment behemoth, Taobao, the equivalent of Amazon, Meituan for food delivery, even major banking and ticketing apps. They all just put up a wall. They completely blocked the Doubao assistant from working.
So for the users, this was incredibly jarring. I mean, one minute their phone is this magical, super efficient personal assistant, and the next they're just seeing this cryptic error message, login failed due to abnormal environment. They were suddenly and completely locked out of their own digital lives.
So what was the official excuse? Well, Tencent, WeChat's parent company, put out a statement saying they were doing it to protect user privacy and security from, quote, automated operations. Now, on the surface, that sounds perfectly reasonable, right? But as you can probably guess, there is a much, much bigger battle going on beneath the surface.
Yeah, this was never just about security. This was a war for control, a war for your clicks, your data, and ultimately, your money. It's the classic story. A disruptive new idea goes up against the powerful, established gatekeepers.
You see, this whole conflict boils down to one simple idea. ByteDance, with Doubao, wants to create one single, smooth interface that works across everything. But the super apps, like Tencent and Alibaba, built their empires on creating walled gardens. They want to keep you inside their ecosystem, using their apps, their services, and most importantly, their payment systems. Doubao threatened to tear down those walls, and they could not have that.
And here's where it really hits home. It's about the money. For a company like Tencent, their payment service, WeChat Pay, makes up a staggering 20% of their total revenue. An AI assistant that can automate tasks for you might decide to bypass their payment system or choose a cheaper one. That's not just a minor inconvenience. That's a direct threat to their entire business model. Now, to be fair, the security argument wasn't completely made up. I mean, an AI that can perfectly imitate a human user could, in the wrong hands, be a really dangerous tool for automating fraud attacks or stealing data on a massive scale. This technology is just so new, the rulebook on how to handle it safely hasn't even been written yet.
So, after this whole 72-hour whirlwind, where does this leave us? Was this whole thing just a bizarre flash in the pan? Or was it really the first major battle in a much longer war over the future of our phones?
Well, despite this huge setback for Doubao, the underlying trend here is undeniable. The market for phones with this kind of powerful AI is projected to just explode. We're talking half of all smartphones by 2026. So yeah, this technology is not going away. In fact, it's just getting started.
So what happens now? Well, in the short term, ByteDance has hit the brakes on the most controversial features, but they are still planning a full commercial launch down the line. And you know, this whole fiasco might actually force these giant tech companies to finally sit down together and create some real industry standards for how these AI agents are supposed to work. And you can bet that government regulators are watching this very closely.
Which leaves us with the really big looming question. For a moment there, we saw a glimpse of a future where a single AI could navigate the whole internet for us, finally breaking down those walled gardens between apps. But the backlash was a pretty stark reminder of who really holds the power. So as this tech evolves, will it truly open up the internet? Or will the winner of this war just end up building a brand new, even bigger walled garden of their own? That's the billion-dollar question.